like honestly just like a crazy idea to begin with.
Sarah said, I think you should do an Ironman. We're just going to do an Ironman. And I said, I don't own a bike.
We realised how few of the participants were women, and we wanted to change that.
Well, we weren't sure if we could do it, but you know, we kept talking about it. Before we knew it, there were 10 of us.
We just thought, let's document our journey on Instagram, mainly for our friends.
Once we'd finished Barcelona, we had a flooding of messages from people saying,
we're really inspired by you, this can't end.
Please, can I be one of the 10 Ironwomen next year?
We were like, oh, wow. It was incredible.
We were quite nervous to open it up to more than that. You know, we're not coaches, but we decided that we couldn't restrict it and we had to just open it to as many people as possible.
It's crazy, when we started, there was just 10 of us. Now we have a half Ironman in 4 weeks' time where we've got 85 women. I just want to keep seeing it grow, keep getting more women into it, keep inspiring women.
We are ordinary women with day jobs, we're not professional athletes. We've done these events, Ironman Barcelona, multiple triathlons, right? So if we can do it, so can everybody else.
To see these ladies that are close to home and they were encouraging other women to do it, it made it possible to me.
It is about community and breaking the barriers that you have in your mind about like what you can or cannot do.
10 Ironwomen is more important than I ever thought it would be to a lot of women, and I just want to see it grow and help even more. Yeah, it feels really important that we keep going. Let me know if you need a hand. No one else is talking to you. Oh. And then I'm going to do that shimmy thing.
Yeah.
Lynn said. But I've got to get it up first.
So what did Celine teach you?
To do the, hold it on the seam and then shimmy it up the back.
Is that better?
It definitely did not feel normal and approachable. This just felt like the sort of thing that if you mentioned it to the wrong person, they would probably just laugh at you because they didn't think that you'd be able to. Having other people going through this training for something that you're really quite scared of sometimes is so helpful to know other people are feeling the same.
There was so many reasons that I thought that I couldn't do a triathlon, from not knowing to swim, which is quite a fundamental part of it, to I just didn't see anyone who looked like me. I didn't see any brown women who were doing triathlons. And actually the 10 Ironwomen community is so diverse that it's so great that there's role models that will hopefully inspire even more women to believe that they can do it as well.
I often notice in these events that there might not be any other black people on the course, and sometimes that really cuts deep. So I'm really trying to elevate that kind of image almost and be that person that people see representing that community.
I feel like as part of 10 Ironwomen, I have been seen. And I feel like the women that are around me have hopefully also had that experience. So you really do feel like you're part of the community. And you can have chances to represent who you are. And I do feel like that's extremely important. It's very difficult as a gender non-conforming or non-binary person to feel like I can be vulnerable, and I really do feel like as part of 10 Ironwomen, I'm good enough as me.
It's been 3-4 years now that we've been working towards this and growing the community. We're all encouraging each other and wanting everyone to achieve the best for themselves. There's nothing else in my life quite like 10 Ironwomen.
How long is the lap?
I think I read that it's 1 kilometre lap.
So we go to the right here.
It's nicer. It's a 1K lap.
Oh, cool. And I would do, it might feel funny, but we need the upper body for running as well. So if we start doing upper body movements, so that you just keep the the shoulder blades activated.
I usually start feeling the nerves of the event a couple of days before the actual start. And especially the night before, I tend to be extremely nervous because I start to anticipate the fact that I'm going to do something where I'm pushing myself.
When we're approaching a race, I'd say the group is such a mixture of emotions. Real excitement because you've done the bulk of the training and there's not really much else you can actually do physically at that point. Also nerves, especially if you've not done it before, you just actually don't know if you can. You're trusting in the training program.
I try and start visualising race day more and more. Sometimes that can be quite a scary thing to think about, but it actually helps so much. I think I got quite nervous about this one, maybe because it is such a different type of race. None of us had ever done a point-to-point one, so it was quite difficult to visualise what that might be like.
I don't know of many sportif-style triathlons. Usually cycling together or running together is not allowed.
When you have sportives as castle to coast, where you don't have hard cut-off times, you can move together with a friend of yours and people genuinely just want to make sure that they can support you to get to that finish line.
I think just because castle to coast is a friendly sportive event absolutely does not mean that it's an easy event. It is a challenging event because of the elevation. Starting in Windsor, there's a 1.2 mile open water swim. Then the bike section is a 66-mile ride on roads and country lanes. And the last section is a 14-mile run over Ditchling Beacon and down to the seafront for the final few miles. We looked at that elevation over and over again, particularly for the ride, and I think we were quite worried about what that would feel like. It's a very different kind of race typology, so to speak.
I definitely feel the anxiety. I think that's the time where I sort of retreat into myself.
I will think about the transitions and just maybe run through the race a bit in my head, just to feel a bit comfortable about every aspect of it. And usually running through the race and what you will do when helps, almost a mental checklist to make sure you have everything.
Lay your trainers and everything out. Imagine exactly what you're going to grab first as soon as you come out of the water. It's all about getting everything in place. There's no room for really much else.
We're about to take on this huge journey together. It really feels like a bit of a step into the unknown. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm going to give it everything I've got, and I've worked for it for probably coming on to a year. That's a lot of time spent on your bike, in your trainers, in the pool or wherever you've been swimming.
One of my mottos is that, the race day is a celebration of what the body can do, the fact that I'm able to train, the fact that I'm able to participate. When the gun goes off, just super exciting.
You're thinking, oh my God, this is just the start.
I just focus on the event and what I've got to do. I'm in this now, so I'm committed and I've got to get to the finish line.
Just remind myself of all the times that I have swum further than that distance. And yes, there's a lot of people around me, but just remind myself to relax. I've done this before and it's going to be okay.
One arm in front of the other, focus on that really, the stroke, the technique.
It's so immersive because you can't hear anything really, and it's just you then. It's quite peaceful almost. It just helps you get you into your flow.
You can listen to like the sounds underwater and then just kind of drift off and just keep moving.
You know, everyone had different strengths. Everyone found different things hard. I think there was more than a couple of times where I went for a swim in open water. It just felt horrible. So I kind of did 100 meters and got back out and then sort of sat on the side, had a little cry, and just thought, why is this so hard? It was such a welcoming group. It felt like a really safe space that I could just say that, or like I'm really worried about the swim.
The whole point is to really try and help build people's confidence. We all hadn't done any of this before at some point. We just really want to make it fun and not scary.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we should just like have fun. Find a space where we're comfortable together. Yeah. Like if someone's in the group and they're like super struggling, like that's not fun. No. I think we should just like drop it to the level where everyone's like spinning their legs. Yeah. And we're just together. I'm done. Are you doing that? I might take you.
For me, it's always a little bit daunting as the bike leg gets closer because it's the newest sport for me. But then once you jump on the bike and you start pedaling, you're also moving in a very different way. And that's super exciting. You're like, okay, we're going to do this.
You do get to see so much and you really get to appreciate the surroundings. I like to also remind myself that actually this is just like, it's a big day out and it's enjoy it and soak it in as well. Like if you're not going to enjoy it, then really what's the point?
There's so much that's great about cycling, even though I struggle with it and I get nervous about it. Usually if it's on a good day, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and like it's really rewarding actually to do the thing that you're quite nervous about doing. Even though it's difficult and even if you don't love it, I think you can take so much from that because it's even more of an achievement.
No, but if you
think it's because of what I did.
Yeah. People have been adjusting your gears to.
Yeah, they have.
Not right, is it?
It's not quite right, that is it?
No.
It started with a puncture, and then we had to cycle back to get the puncture fixed to the and then since then, my wheel's not been on right, so it's been crunching its way up and down the hills. It hasn't been great, so it's going to be good having this run smoothly again. Yeah? How are we doing? Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. So being at the back of the race was pretty tough, you know. It's something that I've always been scared of, being at the back of an event. And I hadn't experienced it before, but obviously someone has to be at the back of a race. Luckily I wasn't there on my own, because I had Sally, but it wasn't easy to know that, and knowing that cycling was my most difficult of the three, I probably wasn't going to catch up either. Sally and I just decided, whatever, we're just going to keep going, we're just going to do our own thing, it's going to be our own race, so we're not competing with anyone. Then, unfortunately, we ended up missing a turning. We had a few minutes where I think we just looked at each other for a while. Neither of us were feeling very good about that, because the race had already gone pretty wrong. But we just decided, right, let's get our phones out, let's figure this out. We can work out how to get back.
We went into Brighton
So how many miles did you cycle today?
About 107 kilometres.
So 60 something.
Yeah.
You're nearly there.
Nearly there.
What do you do now? Run.
Run. Then run a half marathon.
You swam as well? Yeah. You swam this morning?
Yeah, 2K.
Where it was up at Windsor?
Yeah.
Wow, respect. Well done.
Thank you.
Woo! Yes!
Brighton.
Yeah, we found out that the other group, Sarah and Sally, they've been having some issues. I think they had a mechanical issue with the bike, a puncture, gears, and they also got lost.
That's insane.
Which is really tough because
Yeah.
they probably cycled further.
I think
And
it's not an easy day to be doing that.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Even that last section had some climbs, right?
Yeah.
Just when your legs are tired, they feel like a
Yeah,
mile long.
one of those climbs towards the end was nearly 18%, which when you've already cycled 100k or whatever.
It's quite a lot.
But maybe we can make them feel better. So hopefully.
Well, we are back on the route. We're the last ones, I think. I think we've done an extra 15k maybe.
I think we ended up cycling like an extra 20k. It really wasn't easy. Sally's so positive and, really supportive. Having each other again in that moment, if I'd have been alone in that, I don't know what I'd have done. I may well have just not even continued. I might have just thought, do you know what? Too many things have gone wrong now.
Oh, finally.
We had no idea where they were, and then they appeared at the top of this hill we were running up, and that was super emotional.
I mean, it was just such a pure moment of joy. And I think because we were all exhausted as well, just like seeing them and knowing that we could share the experience, I remember shedding some tears.
We didn't realise that they'd actually changed part of their route, so to see them coming up over the other side of the hill, it was quite an overwhelming moment.
It was just so lovely to all be together, and I think that really encompassed that joy that was there to all be doing it as a group.
Obviously, Sally and I were really happy, but I think we were just all really happy because we are a group and it is about all of us, and I think it was really difficult for the others to know how much we were struggling and to not have us there with them and to know that we were far behind. That feeling of, okay, now it's just the run. We've been through all this journey and now we can do this run. We've got the last bit to do together.
I'm all good!
It always gets to a point where it starts to become really difficult because you are just getting really tired and you just really, really want to stop.
The little voice in my head does say, why don't you just quit? And then the other voice says, unless I'm dragged off the course, I'm not going to stop.
Just visualising the end and knowing that I can do it. Sometimes I tell myself I've basically done it. What's another half an hour of running?
I have some mantras that I'll try and remind myself of, like, you're capable of so much more than you think you are. And just think about how lucky I am and how grateful I am to be there.
Hello, girls. Thank you. Keep going. It'll all be worth it. Yes, totally.
Something in you just keeps going, and you just keep your legs turning over, even if it's super, super tough.
We got this.
Once you see that finish line, it's just so exciting to be there.
That's the moment of absolute elation. It's complete like celebration of not just the race, not just the day that you've gone through, but all the training leading up to it as well, and all the kind of challenges along the way that you've overcome.
I almost can't describe it. It's just, you feel so proud of yourself, so relieved. Think about how unsure you were and about signing up and how scary that was, and all of the training that, you know, was a struggle to fit in, and the sacrifices you made to do it, how much you've learned and how far you've come, and how much better you've got at different things.
So I was just full of emotion of what we'd achieved, and seeing and knowing my friends were achieving the same.
It's just an overwhelming sense of relief because you are pushing yourself to the limit, and there's a sense of, oh, I have absolutely nothing else to give, and there's a sense of pride that you've put so much into something.
So Castle to Coast was triathlon in a way I've never experienced a triathlon before. Going into an event knowing that this is my team, we're going to get to the end together, is a very different feeling and a very different emotion to start with. We're never really listening to each other's pains or struggles because you're usually on your own, so we could share that struggle. We were all in it together.
I think there's really a need for more races like Sportives as Castle to Coast. Races like that where you don't have hard cut-off times is a huge thing. You're really allowing a different type of participant to enter the race.
I think one of the biggest barriers to people, and in particular women, to triathlon and endurance events is how daunting the event itself can seem. I think the more welcoming an event is, the better. And this is what sports started out as for children. It's about having fun. That's meant to be the primary aim of sports, is enjoyment. We don't have to be so competitive all the time.
You know, finishing the race, I was just feeling really, I guess quite proud of myself that I got through that. I got through the bike and I was still going. You know, I'd gone through these moments on the bike where I was like, I'm not sure that I'm going to carry on doing this because I feel like everything's against me. I guess every race can teach you something. It might not always be the thing you want to happen in that race, but you can take something out of each one. You know, it also made me realise it's okay. That's always been a bit of a fear. You know, what if I'm going to be at the back, and you know, so what? It's really taken that fear away from me, and I think that maybe is a big barrier for a lot of people. You know, they think that they won't be good enough, or they think that they will be at the back of the race, and to do the thing that you really weren't sure you could do and you really weren't sure was possible, and to be at the finish line of that, that's all that matters, really.
What you gonna do